I need. So I was at the doctor's office the other day, and
I
I was
touched
looking at the
nothing.
form and
Oh,
filled out.
you
And
did.
it said
You did.
high school education, and all I could think was, what if I got a GED? And what's more important, if I got a master's?
Bet I can tell you where you got them shoes. Huh? Uh, 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 huh?
And that's where chicken livers come from.
How's everybody doing tonight?
Good. Pretty good. Pretty good.
All right. Well, let's get started. So we're supposed to be having a hurricane. That's what's going on with us. Besides a bunch of other craziness. So who we got out here today? We got Wally, James, Paul. How's it going, guys? And Liquidiate. I don't know if I know your real name.
Call me Alan.
Alan. All right.
Yeah, on my profile if you click on my name there.
All right. Well, thanks for being here again this week. All right. What's on the agenda tonight? Well, what I've been doing this week, just to get things kicked off, I have been like a total degenerate with this Avagachi stuff. I have put way too much money into this thing. And I'm not going to lose now unless the damn hurricane kills my Wi-Fi before I can win it. So, yeah, it's kind of crazy and ridiculous. And next week, I'm hoping to get like some other Avagachi people here because there is at least one Polygon advocate, and there is at least one person in the group here who hasn't made it out here yet tonight. But yeah, we have a couple of Avagachi people in our. Hopefully next week we're gonna like talk more about that once the auction is over. And I can tell you what a crazy experience that was. Because it's already been crazy. Yeah, I'm guessing maybe only Alan knows even what I'm talking about. I don't think I have any clue what an Avagachi is. Am I wrong?
It's not an NFT. The crypto Tamagotchi.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's an NFT, but it's a gaming NFT, and it's also an interest-bearing asset. So it's a very strange little hybrid creature, and I've been looking into them for months, but it was always like out of my price range because it was on Ethereum Layer 1. And now I'm like, oh man, it's so cheap on Polygon, so because of the gas fees, but like it's really not that cheap anyway, man. Oh man, it's crazy. Whatever. I'm down for it. Let's do it. Hey, how's it going? So, hey, you know what? I'm gonna just put you on the spot here, Wally. You want to screen some animations in Decentraland?
Uh, I don't know. Maybe.
All right. Well, last week our friend Jorge was on here, and he has a museum in Decentraland, and we're looking to put on some events and planning some film festival stuff, but we want to do some trial runs. So I was thinking, we'll just tap some animators that we know.
We're just filmmakers too.
Yeah, filmmakers. We want to do a Fat Fleshy Fingers event later down the line when we have more to say about that. Because I think it would be cool to try to get some of the Fat Fleshy Fingers Kickstarter backers like an extra thing that they didn't know they were going to get kind of thing. We do a POAP and a screening of all the filmmakers together. But yeah, I thought in the meantime it might be fun to just do some short animations because it might. I think the problem with Decentraland is it is low quality video at this point. It's not, because it's for the VR, so the video suffers. But animation probably won't suffer that much as opposed to film, So, yeah, I'll get with you about that and some other people as well. Do we have any other filmmakers in the audience? I know Paul makes films. Yep. Cool. So, what do you have to say? It's a bit empty tonight. None of our New Orleans people could make it because we're in the middle of an evacuation. So yeah, that's going on.
Yeah, I mean, I spent my day just getting ready for a hurricane. From the time I woke up, First, I thought if we're gonna lose power and air conditioning and everything, I want the house to be clean, at least. I thought that was like a basic necessity. So I did that, and then I went outside and did stuff. And I've been just checking the weather fairly frequently for the past couple days now. So that's been...
Well, I don't know. Hurricanes always just happen, like everything's fine and then it's not,
Well, you also lived through Katrina.
Yeah.
And
tomorrow is like the 16-year anniversary of Katrina, so yeah, getting slammed on the birthday. So that's cool. But yeah, I was here for all that, so that was fun.
in this house, too.
I lived here, but I wasn't physically in this house for the storm. I stayed in an apartment in Metairie, my mom's house at the time. Yep.
Did you freeze those water bottles?
Yeah, we've got... She didn't see that. She didn't see that.
What?
It was a meme, or it was a picture on Facebook. It was like, oh, if a hurricane's coming, freeze water bottles so that the things in your freezer will stay frozen longer. And then, like, you see on the bottom shelf, there's a hand in saran wrap.
Well, I actually have a dead body in my freezer. We have a dead body in our freezer.
This isn't the place for that.
Well, I've said it now, and I'm gonna just... I guess I'm not gonna tell the story then. This is...
No, go ahead.
Well, I actually have a dead monarch butterfly in a Pyrex container. Because I don't know if you guys like follow our Instagram, or he posts it on Facebook sometimes, but we have this milkweed, then you have these monarch caterpillars and they turn into chrysalises and then they like hatch. And one of them hatched with deformed wings. And so I looked up on YouTube, you can apparently do monarch butterfly wing repair. it's a whole thing where you like hold down the butterfly and fix its wing using an old set of Monarch butterfly wings. It's very morbid. But I had a pair, and it didn't work, so it couldn't fly. And so the humane way of killing a butterfly is to put it in the freezer, and they just go to sleep. So I did this back in probably May, and I just never got rid of the body. So it's just sitting there in a Pyrex container. And I don't want to deal with it yet.
It's so much to deal with.
I don't know why you don't mind, because you open the freezer all the time and you see it, so you don't care enough to do anything about it.
It's true. It doesn't bother me. I mean, it's...
How long are you gonna wait to do stuff with it?
I'm just not ready yet. I mean, I might not have a choice. If we lose power for an extended period of time, I probably don't.
We don't want it to defrost.
I'll probably have to get rid of it at that point.
Oh, ridiculous.
So it could be very soon that I do something about that thing.
We were saving it for Gree bags.
What's that?
Voodoo.
Oh. Well.
Yeah, so we didn't prepare very well. Where did we leave off last week?
Well, last week we basically talked about what we do. You talked about your crypto stuff. And we
that could mean
introduced-
anything.
Which that's what I call it, because it's just crypto stuff at this point to me. I don't know specifically what he does. I just know that. So he's so obsessed with getting this Avagachi that he keeps his computer on at night. Because like I'm a night owl, I work at night, and so if it goes off, because it's like an auction. So if I hear a noise, I have to go wake him up, and it doesn't matter what time it is. I have to run and wake him up to let him know that someone has outbid him, and then he wakes up, and then he like does something, and then he goes back to bed.
I make another bid.
Yeah. So
Wait, you don't have an Avagachi yet, but you do get some byproduct just for bidding?
Yeah, it's a bid to earn system. So the way it works is you make a bid, and then depending on the reward level of the thing you're bidding for, you get a percentage between 0.5 and 15% of your bid, of the next bid, whatever they outbid you on. You get a percentage of that as well as your original bid back. So say if you bid 100 Ghost, and then...
What's the currency, though?
The currency is...
Ghost is the currency?
Exactly, Ghost, yeah. And a Ghost right now is $2. Yeah, so... It's pretty expensive. I think right now my bid at 302 Ghost. So $604 for a JPEG.
But it's like a specific JPEG that can't be duplicated.
Correct. And actually what I'm getting is a portal. So you get this portal, and it's like a pack of cards, and you open it up, and there's 10 of them in there, and you get to pick one, and the rest go away.
Interesting. Okay.
And yeah, like based on, so since it's an asset, it has a cryptocurrency associated with it. So you could get Aave, there might be a USD, I know there's a wrapped ETH, wrapped Bitcoin. So you would get a different Avagachi with an asset on its forehead, and then you deposit that asset into it. And I think you can deposit more. There's a minimum, but you can deposit more of that asset into it, and then based on its attributes, like the clothes you buy for it and the things that you do in the mini games, you level it up, and then you get more interest. And then they're saying in the future, maybe a couple years down the road, you would be able to collateralize your Avagachi and then borrow against it. So, yeah.
And there's no tax laws on these so far, right?
Oh, no, there's all kinds of tax laws. Like, it's ridiculous. I mean...
Okay.
No.
I'm surprised that they're getting this far into it.
Yeah, I mean, right now, the tax laws in the U.S. are so strict that it's like anything you do regarding cryptocurrency that isn't buying, you can buy and not get taxed, and that's about it. Anything else you do is taxable.
So minting gets taxed.
Yeah, I guess so. I would assume, but I mean, they're just hitting it with a hammer right now. Hopefully, we'll see some real regulation, some real thought out regulation going into it, and that's part of like it. There was a controversial like Uniswap grant that went through probably a month ago that everybody was like flipping out about, but apparently it was a bunch of lobbyists essentially for DeFi and Uniswap that were deployed to go teach people in the government what the hell they're talking about before they hit it with the hammer, because that's what they do. But yeah, apparently, like, there was a big deal because Uniswap released all these funds, and people were like, "What the hell is this for? What is the Uniswap Education Fund?" But it turned out to be like lobbyists and a legal team to go and try to handle and head some of this stuff off before it got too hot. But that actually happened before the recent infrastructure bill got passed, which, I mean, it's only passed through the Senate or whatever, so I think it still has to hit the House. But that's not solid. That's still 2 years away of anything happening. But right now it's basically like, yeah, if anything happens at all, you get taxed. So I have no idea how that affects an Avagachi because they're not even a year old. So, yeah, I have no idea. I guess I could ask in the Discord channel, what people declared this year. It's funny. Yeah, then I mean, yeah, that is. I don't know. It's very interesting to think about. What's up, Wally?
I was gonna say, what time is the storm supposed to get bad, or what's happening over there with that?
Oh, I think it's
gonna be like a tomorrow, like early afternoon into tomorrow night. So tonight should be fine, I guess. It's really a tomorrow event. So
tomorrow afternoon. I thought it.
Gotcha.
yeah.
Yeah, we'll probably get some rain in the morning. I think. So the auction for the Avagachi, the portal, ends at like 9:30 our time. So, yeah, Central Time. So 9:30 in the morning. So I'm just hoping that we don't get anything serious before then because, man, it's actually crazy. I'm glad we haven't had any problems tonight because I've been having Wi-Fi problems all day for no reason. So I was worried about tonight's stream cutting out on us, but here we are. It's good. Actually, that's what's really cool about Discord calls, too, because, if you're on Zoom and you're the host and you lose connection, everybody gets screwed. But on here, if we were to drop out, y'all could just talk to each other till we come back.
Oh, so this week's Pope, was it Poap?
Oh, yeah, I forgot about I don't know, Poap. Y'all know anything about this? Liquidity, Alan was here last week, so he knows, obviously.
So this week is our German Shepherd Rosie, She's the week 2
Yes. And you can.
representative.
All right, so I think the way this works, I did a Pope bot this week. So I think the way this works is you have to direct message the Pope bot with the password. And the password is spaghetti. But I think you have to direct message him. Don't do it in the public channel. I think you have to let me see how this works. I think you gotta find him in the side, on the right-hand side of your screen, where all the people. I guess if you're on a phone, it's different, so I don't know. But yeah, if you're on the right-hand side of the screen, you should be able to see all the people in the channel. Go to the Pope bot, and then I think if you click it, you can send him a message, and if you message him the word spaghetti, you should get a code to download the Pope for tonight. Rosie is the character from the cartoon we watched at the beginning. That was she was the inspiration.
Yeah.
And I guess next week we'll do Joe for the Pope.
I guess so. That makes sense.
Yep.
Yeah, we did a whole animated series based off of a meme, a Obama and Joe Biden meme.
Yeah. It was Obama and Joe Biden, and it was like Joe saying, "So what are we gonna do after this?" And Obama's like, "Nothing. We're done. This is the end of the road for us." And then it's like Joe silently tearing up private detective cards. And then that was the inspiration. We're like, "Oh, our little Rosie and Joe private dicks."
It was supposed to be Rosie and Joe private dicks, and like every episode they would solve some stupid, or they wouldn't solve some sort of mystery. That was the original premise of the show.
Yeah, and then what Mama Kitty from last week's Pope, she was like the villain, but you weren't really gonna find that out till the end of the season. She was gonna be like running this whole like cat street gang.
She's the underboss of everything.
Kind of like Daredevil season 1, I guess. You know, like you'll find out at the end, like, oh yeah, Mama Cat's been running the whole show.
But they didn't want to go the detective route, so
yeah,
we dropped that part. We still like it though. We think that would have been the best part of it. And the episode you guys saw was kind of like was supposed to be the introduction to like the crime.
Yeah,
it was a setup.
That was the pilot. That was the pilot episode.
Yeah.
Oh. Yeah, so I just had the theremin out. I decided to annoy y'all with that a little bit. We were actually running late today, even though I was like pretty much set up. I don't know why we were running late. So, did the theremin sound okay coming through there? Like, I have no idea if that even sounded like might have been the most annoying screech in the world. Oh yeah. It's you typing. I was like, who's typing? Oh yeah. James is a German Shepherd. I see him on Facebook all the time.
Her name's Huff, and I think she thinks I'm talking to her whenever I'm going to meet her. So she comes down here because she thinks I'm crazy and I'm talking to her. Yeah, she's always around.
Nice.
She doesn't do very good outside. She barks at everyone and everything.
Oh,
so
we know. Yeah.
We go are pretty much always in there.
Yeah.
She's a sweetheart.
Yeah, we know. Our German Shepherd's the same way. She has a spinal disease, and so she's kind of disabled now. And so, like, to go for a walk, I put her in a wagon, and we go in a wagon around the neighborhood every night, and we feed cats, because that's what we used to do for years, is Rosie and I started feeding stray cats. And for some reason, I don't know what it is about her, but stray cats love her. She's just...
Oh, Bobby's pulling on the microphone.
They, like, rub up against her, and she's so nice to them.
Bobby.
And so we still do that. But she's the same way. Whenever a cat walks by, she has to bark at them. and it doesn't matter who it is. It's like she's just kind of a dick to them now.
Yeah, the only thing that really worries me is she'll do that thing where she's totally cool when a dog walks by, and she acts like everything's cool. And as soon as they get past her and they can't see her, she'll lunge. She turns and just tries to go after him. And I'm like, what are you doing? It's a chicken. Definitely is my dog. She's got a few people that she loves, and she'll ignore me when they're around. But then she gets tired of them and she has to lay on me. She's one of those touchy dogs that whenever she's around, she's got to be touching me. Like right now, you can see her head because she's effectively laying on my feet. I had a Chow Shepherd that was just the best dog ever. She would actually never let anyone get near me. And that if you were talking to me, she would have to sit or stand between us. Everywhere. If I was in a room, she was either laying in the doorway or laying at the foot of my bed. And she was the coolest dog ever. And then she died. And my wife, I've had dogs die before, but that dog, I would walk around for like a week looking for it. Like my brain didn't catch up to she'd gone. I would go into a room and be like, wait, where's Coco at? So I got her, and I've had her for about 5 years, and she's kind of cool. She's a bit more of a brat than my Chow was, believe it or not. I mean, she's a German Shepherd. They're brats. She thinks everyone else is on the same level as her. So if you're standing there with food, she assumes she can like walk over and take it. Unless it's me, she won't try it with me. But anyone else, she'll like get up in their face and try to get food from them. And I'm like, dog, you act like I didn't teach you anything because I didn't teach her anything. I teach her stuff, but I don't teach her anything. She's a knucklehead. But yeah, like you said, she's all over my Facebook and my Twitter. Do you know Dust Piggies? Do you know Mike? You ever meet Mike that does Dust Piggies?
I don't know. I don't think so.
So Mike, I got to tell this story. This story is why I fell in love with Mike. You used to take those blocks that you make for clay, like pottery. You get them in blocks. Well, instead of taking them and breaking them down and putting them on a potter's wheel, he would just take them out of the packaging and clean them and then fire them. So he would fire just blocks of clay. It was the coolest thing I've ever seen. And he's just crazy, and I love Mike. But he drew a picture. He actually painted a picture of her for me. Oh God help me. And yeah, if you've ever met Mike, Mike's pretty crazy. He's over in England, and he used to do Dust as a cartoon or a comic, web comic, but it looks like it's totally deconstructed. Like it looks like it could literally be like a 9-year-old doing it, and it's the most awful, gross jokes ever. He's got characters that are saying just horrible, horrible things, and it's such a shock that it actually makes me laugh. It actually works, where it wouldn't work with anyone else. It works because it's him. It's like painting a block of clay and calling it art is Mike, and they turn out beautiful, and you go, wait, that's a whole block of clay that you just fired. It's cool.
So he doesn't do anything to the block. He just literally takes a block and just sticks it and fires it.
Yeah, doesn't shape it. He just paints it, glazes it with designs, and puts it in the kiln and
okay.
it doesn't break.
Okay.
Yeah, it's weird, but his designs are so cool, and then you realize it's basically did nothing on the art side. I mean, the drawing side, yeah, but the pottery side, it's like the most simplistic pottery you could make. It's so weird. I would think that someone else doing it would seem pretentious or I don't know. And with him, it's completely he's going for that effect, and that's what it is. And it takes some courage, I think, to pull that off and hope that people actually did it. So, anyway, yeah, sometime I'll introduce you. He tends to take breaks from social media for mental health.
It's It's a good idea.
Yeah, it's a good idea. So, but yeah, we've stayed in touch, and he can be a prickly pear. There's certainly people that he doesn't like trust right away. So I'll like introduce him, and then he's just like, nah, I don't really want to talk to that person. Like, all right, whatever. But anyway, yeah, it's nice to see you guys. Thank you for the invite. Don't know a lot about the crypto stuff at all, so but it's been around for a while now, and you know I should understand it, and I still don't understand it. Like on a basic level, I understand that crypto is essentially using computers and computer time to make money, but I think a lot of people are probably like, man, it feels like fake. It feels like imaginary, and then you're getting real money, and it's so weird. It seems like wishing that you had money and the money appears. It's very odd.
Yeah.
I don't do NFTs either. NFTs, I'm a collector of things, you know, CDs, and obviously I've got a million guitars behind me. So I see NFT and I think, is that something I can own? Like, that I would have, like, I don't know. Trying to think, like, having a first edition book is what it feels like it should feel like. Being that it's online, it's such a weird thing. And then I also think I don't know how old you are. I'm old. But I tell my son all the time, like, you don't even know, man. I had a rotary phone in 1992 at my parents' house. In high school, I would talk to my girlfriends on a rotary phone.
Yeah.
And, you know, 10 years down the line, it's like everyone has cell phones. And now, I teach physics. I don't know if you know that. I teach at a college, and I tell my students, I'm like, they'll ask me something like, oh, well, what's the constant for this? I'm like, you literally have all of human knowledge in your pocket. Like, you could pull that out and read Egyptian hieroglyphics right now, if you want. You can read Einstein's relativity if you want. It's so weird, and I don't know. I wonder what it's going to be like in 20 years. Like, just how weird and different life is going to be.
Oh,
I haven't.
It's happening.
Yeah, sorry, I'm talking over you.
No, you're good. No, I'm saying it's happening. The future's happening.
I would like to hear what everyone thinks of what life is going to be like in 10 or 20 years that we take for granted now that we're suddenly going to have, you know? Maybe going to work will be a thing of the past and everyone will do work at home now. With the pandemic, that would be weird. That we all just kind of have we've gone from this world wide web to a more isolated village existence where we're online, but we're not seeing people anymore. I don't know. I went.
Do you know about DAOs?
I know, what's that?
Decentralized autonomous organizations.
No, I've never heard of that.
Well, it's like, all right, so, you know, there's crypto, and then there's NFTs, and now the next big thing happening with on-chain stuff is DAOs, which they did start off purely as on-chain things that were related directly to a blockchain or a cryptocurrency or whatever. But now it's getting to be just people from all over the world trying to create decentralized corporations, basically. So, like, Alan, for instance, is part of Bankless DAO, which is something that I'm trying to work with as well, with creating a film festival and maybe a podcast and some other stuff we're thinking about doing. But I'm also working with the Polygon advocates, and it's basically just people all over the world trying to work with these cryptocurrency, I mean, I guess you could say corporations, but they're really not corporations. It's really just a community surrounding the developers more than anything, I'd say. But now DAOs are starting to just take on anything in a sense. Like if we wanted to start a Zimtimo DAO, we could if we had a large enough community and people that wanted to get behind it and some kind of thing that people wanted to do. I'm really interested. This is getting way like deep level on it, but I've been thinking about this for a while. Like, I would really want to like, I need to get a well drafted letter to Richard D. Wolff. He's like one of my favorite economists, and I really want to know what he thinks about DAOs, because he is all about like corporations being co-ops where you don't really have like a CEO, or if you do, it's a revolving door position where more people get a shot at it than just like a privileged few. So I'd be interested to see what he thinks about it, because he's probably one of those people that, you know, maybe knows about crypto but doesn't really have his head wrapped around the subject fully. So be interested to know what he thinks.
Yeah, I don't know. It definitely, there's a lot of things that have changed, and that crypto could probably help a lot of communities. Finding some way that maybe musicians can get paid through crypto and NFTs and stuff like that. I know a lot of musicians that basically it used to be you could maybe get a record deal, and now it's all DIY. You want to make records, you're going to sell them off your whatever Patron, whatever you have. Kind of taking a hard hit. You can't be a musician anymore.
Oh, you're telling me? I mean, that's why I'm making short films with Gurleen. Like, you know, as a musician, I get more work working in film than I do, you know, playing music. I play music for fun to stay sharp. But no, that's why I got into NFTs, because it was, you know, I'm writing a new album. I've been working on it for a while, but I've been kind of dragging ass because I'm like, what's the point in a sense? Like, I have fun playing it, but why do I need to finish this thing? Like, just to let it die on SoundCloud or whatever. So, you know, I was looking for the next big thing, and that's how I ran into NFTs, and that got me down this whole rabbit hole.
I kind of, I would like to get like a kind of way, someone who can make nice little 7-inches cheap, and get like a musical zine going where people just swap 7 inches around the country. I wish someone would make like a 3D printer that could print albums. That's my wish. If you could make a 3D printer that would print LPs for me, I think that would be cool, and then make it cheap enough that people like me or you could buy one and have one, and just rip it right there and make 30 copies of them and send it whoever wants them. That would probably be pretty cool.
And
it
see,
might happen.
that actually would work as an NFT, because you could put the 3D printing data as part of the downloadable content with the NFT, and then you can do a digital exchange, and then they can print the medium format on their own.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, you could print it and play it on your record player. That would be pretty cool.
Right?
If you just sell them, the program for the 3D printer to run for your music. That might be a trip. I'll have to talk to some people I know and see if we could print a 7-inch on a 3D printer and see how that goes. I don't know if it would be durable or if it would sound like, you know those old Disney albums? Did you ever have the Disney ones when you were a kid? It had like the 4 little notes. And
you know what's
like,
funny?
ding, ding.
I have one of these. I don't know if it's the one you're talking about, but I have this little like kitty record player that.
Get it.
Oh, she's gonna
They're
get
like
it.
really hard plastic with little knobs, and it just basically pings the different notes. It has like 7 notes on it.
Oh, okay.
Pings them as it goes around, so it goes ding, 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 ding.
I know what you're talking about. No, I've got like a tiny little Music Time 7-inch record player or something like that. Yeah.
That's cool.
Like a Batman record on there.
That's cool.
No, it's funny because I've been doing these I've been doing like NFT and crypto tutorials, and in the background, because I do it from a different angle, in the background I've got like my entire CD collection, and I'm sure, you know, people are gonna watch that and just be like, "What is this old guy doing?"
I actually, so I had a ton of CDs, and my wife got me a phone, an iPhone. It finally made me switch to Apple Music, and I got happy because I could find some stuff. I still have stuff that's not on Apple Music, but it seems like lately my Apple Music has been dumping stuff, and stuff that I had on there won't play. So I think I'm going back to Luddite, if you can call CDs Luddite. But I think I'm going back to my CD collection.
See, I'm halfway between there because I uploaded all my CDs. So I actually have the physical, the file on there. So, like, Apple can't steal it. It exists on a hard drive.
When I put it through the hard drive, it downloads to my phone. And, like, some of my CDs that aren't on Apple Music used to play, and over the last 4 or 5 months,
Oh, wow.
don't play, which is weird. Like, every once in a while goes through and it searches, and if it finds something that's not on Apple Music, it's kicking it out of my playlist, which I'm like, why are you doing that? That's not cool. That's, my stuff.
Because net neutrality said they could,
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so weird. I've seen where they did that for me, but they put the song in a really strange location with a strange name. So they just made it really difficult to find it.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
I doubt you. Well, you might like this band, you might not. But Everclear, their first album, I have on CD. It's not on Apple Music, and it used to play. Now it doesn't play. But I think he's right. Sometimes you can look up the song and then find the album, and the album's not in the band's page, but it's still on there somewhere. It's like
They resorted it?
But
Yeah, that's weird. But they gave you that new U2 album for free, so... Oh, man.
I don't know. It is cool because there is a lot of stuff that I found on Apple Music that I didn't know about, and the little suggestions for you is really nice at the bottom. If you like this band, check out these people, and you kind of go down these weird rabbit holes finding bands you've never heard of, which is, I don't know. I guess okay, but yeah, I thought I was going to be like, oh, I'll put away all my CDs and I'll just put them in boxes and store them somewhere. And now I'm like, no, they're all coming back.
Yep. Yeah, I still got a bunch of records too, but I don't have a record player right now because I just had a couple cheap ones and I broke them. Cats broke them. Cats love to jump on things, send them flying. But yeah, I want to get a new record player.
Yeah, I mean I feel like that's one thing I do like about the future is then you have less stuff. Because that's a big anxiety of mine is living with the stuff. How does it not, for me, it just bothers me after a while, and I want to I'll throw things away. I've been that person.
But my wife was always that way. Me and my wife are separated now. So that's what
you need your stuff.
One thing I will say, I really noticed it with Diamond Dogs, the David Bowie album. If you listen to that album on CD and you listen to it on LP, it is a vastly different sonic experience. I hear different things on the album than I hear on the CD, which is really weird. And I'm not really big. Most albums sound like a CD, and the CD actually sounds better because people don't take care of their albums. Their albums just get old. But there are some albums that are definitely helped by that medium. So if you have someone you really like, try getting one of their LPs and seeing how you like the sound on the LP. You might find out that the fidelity or the mastering was different. I don't know how, maybe you noticed, how the mastering might be different between a CD and an album.
Yeah, actually, I was about to say that, an album is going to have less bass because bass requires a deeper cut into the vinyl. So
Right, yeah.
I would say like with modern music, for instance, like Tom Waits sounds really good on vinyl, but Primus does not.
Right,
Because
yeah.
I have like Green Nagahide on vinyl, and there's a lot of that where like the bass just doesn't sound right. And also like I have Godspeed You Black Emperor on vinyl, and the bass at some of the bass actually makes it skip. The album will actually jump because of the bass. So
Yeah, yeah, I can see that.
so yeah, some
Yeah, I think
things.
that-
Yeah.
What about And Justice for All?
I don't have that one on vinyl.
It has no bass. No, the bass is almost not there on that album. Yeah.
Okay. That might be pretty good on vinyl then, but I only have it on cassette. What else? No. Yeah, I've only got a handful of like really new albums. Most of my albums are acquired from, people who were giving up their albums, and I'm like, I will take that. A lot of my
Yeah.
dad's albums, yeah, a lot of.
I have that problem where I find an album I love and I want to give it to people. I'm gonna take this and go listen to it, and then I never get stuff back. But yeah. So, what's your favorite album? Go with that.
Ooh, like
Album.
album.
Any album. Both of you. Album that when you pick up and there's nothing going on, you want to throw some music on and just hang out at the house and do your thing that you throw on. The Sunday morning album. When the house is quiet.
It really
Really a tough
depends.
question.
Yeah, that is a tough one. But you know what? Honestly, on a day like that, probably Bone Machine. Yeah, that's one I really like to put on sometime. But that's really a kind of a dark, introspective album. So, yeah, that I don't know why that one came to mind. Kind of funny.
My Daughter, if you've ever heard the band Daughter, the album If You Leave, it's kind of dark and sad and melancholic. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I like a lot of fast stuff. I like a lot of punk and hardcore, but I also listen to a lot of 80s, a lot of stupid 80s.
Well, that was gonna be my next thing. Was like the Melvins. Like I could put on almost any Melvins album and just jam that straight through. Like that's my jam right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. I'm with you on that. Yeah. Yeah. My favorite memories as a kid, my mom would clean the house, and I would wake up and the house would smell like Lysol. You'd either be playing piano or listening to Neil Young. So like Neil Young is that soft California of comfort.
Yeah, because for me, Sundays is coffee, getting work stuff done day. So it's usually honestly Sepultura, Roots, Bloody Roots.
Yeah, there you go.
It's either that one or Pantera.
That's your Sunday morning music, huh? Just taking
Sunday
it
morning
easy.
music.
Joyce, thanks for joining the party.
Okay.
Yeah, that's some good Sunday morning music there, Wally. That's why you're always so aggro.
I would add to that corrosion and conformity. Throwing on some corrosion and conformity, so you got that hard stuff and then real heavy metal.
Yeah, it's fun stuff. I kind of like this one band called Down, but like I don't know. Sometimes it gets irritating for some reason.
Yeah, I used to listen to Down a lot. I I've listened to it too much, maybe. No, it's been a long time, though. I could probably go back and listen to it because it's been so long that, like, yeah, it's particularly the first album.
But James, James, I agree with you on the cheesy 80s stuff. I do that too. Or like hair metal stuff. I listen to that sometimes.
Yeah, pretty much. I really could listen to anything. My favorite 80s band is probably Sig Sig Sputnik and ABC, Look of Love, all that stuff, because of the bass playing in it. But hair metal, a lot of Sam Hain, Misfits, Exploited, stuff that I laugh about now, but I spent a lot of years listening to a lot of hardcore Gorilla Biscuits and stuff like that. So.
The Misfits, are they playing that Riot Fest?
I would never go to see a Misfits show nowadays. I'm sure they probably are. But I remember when they came back with Glenn and they were supposed to play in Denver, and I would have been one of the people that would have bet $1 million that show wouldn't happen, and it did. But I don't know. Misfits are one of those bands that people get really, where, people are too old for it, so they say it's horrible. I've gone through and listened to Danzig's albums after, like, How the Gods Kill, and there's some good stuff there. There's actually some decent stuff that Danzig did later. He's not the best human being ever, but there's some of that music that I'm like, yeah, you guys were rocking that in the studio. I don't know. I would probably go see a Misfits show if it was unrelated, like if I wanted to go see someone that was playing them. I don't know if I'd go see them now, though. It would probably make me sad to realize how old they are, and then you go, uh-oh. They're these old guys, and then you realize you're the old guy standing here listening to them. Yeah. If you haven't heard Earth AD and you like metal, Earth AD is a great album. If you haven't listened to all the Sam Hain is Danzig without the rest of the band. Sam Hain is probably my favorite Danzig era. The music's not great, but the atmosphere is perfect. The music's stupid, but the atmosphere is what I'm there for.
That's great.
Danzig, you were saying. Yeah, I like the album. I think it's just called 3. Maybe that's what it's called. But it's got like HRT or
oh man, that's.
Is actually
dude. Gotcha.
He tried to write some film scores. If you've heard his what is that stupid thing called? Danzig wrote an album that's all like film score music, and it's okay. I don't know. It sounds poppy and stupid. I don't know. You could probably get away with it on a really bad movie. Like it would be nice background for a really stupid, like Manos Pants of Fate, or one of those MST3K horror movies. It's something. Yeah, I don't know. It's funny because okay, so let's talk about this for a second, if you don't mind. I don't know if Danzig, if you watch his interviews or read his interviews, I think he really believes in the stuff that he's talking about. And I wonder how much of it or how much of it is a rock star product that he's got out there. I just don't know. Like Ozzy Osbourne. If you watch the Osbourne reality show, he was not the Prince of Darkness. He's just some crazy dude that played guitar and singing. No. I don't know. Anyway. I don't mean to be...
I don't know. Danzig seems to take himself very seriously, but I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how much of it he actually believes.
The guys. Have you seen his house in Los Feliz in LA?
No.
It's like it's what you'd expect Danzig's house to look like.
But yeah, that's what I mean. It's what you would think it would look like. So it's like, what are you doing, dude? It's like, I don't know. I know some people that are very into that whole scene, and it's just like, okay. I don't know. I've always wondered that. Like, do you think psychics believe they're psychics? And I don't mean normal people. I mean the ones that you see with the building. It's like, come and get your palm read. Do you think those people believe they're psychic, or are they just really good at being a psychic? You know what I mean? Like, they're good at reading people. Do you think they really believe it, or are they in it for the money? Now, I'm not saying that people aren't psychic. Don't get me wrong.
You don't want to offend psychics.
And you guys are in New Orleans. You guys know. There's psychics all over.
We've got palm readers and...
I think they know the hustle. Like, there are a bunch of them who, like, plant themselves outside the, where is it,
the square.
Jackson
Square.
Jackson Square, and there's just, like, a dozen of them. And I'm sure they know they're full of shit. Like, maybe one or two think they're the real deal, but I think it's a hustle.
The other big part of it is how much do you give them? You know, because it's with all mediums, they say, like, you know, they throw out some stuff and then you latch on to it and you give them more to go by. So, you know.
I had a creepy psychic experience once, though. Like, I don't believe in that stuff. But there was one time that I went to a psychic, and she said, the first thing she said was so very, very specific that I was already, like, standoffish, but then I heard that thing, and then she just kept saying things that were, like, eerily appropriate, whereas, like, in the past, they've just been very vague, and it could apply to anybody. And somebody else said that about her, because that's how I found out about her. Someone was like, she said things that are just way too specific to, like, be, you know, like, how would they know that kind of thing? It was a lot, like, a while ago, so I don't know, there's no, like, social media back then they could check up on, you know what I mean? Like, how would they know these details? But maybe we're not as special as we think we are, and the things we think are specific to us really aren't, and maybe that's it too.
I'm a Scorpio, and I believe all the things about Scorpio are about me. You know,
no, it's funny. This is an interesting tie to, like, investing in crypto stuff, because there's a phrase in crypto that I always think is funny, and that's like, technical analysis is astrology. So it's the same thing with, like, people think they can predict markets, but, like, it's the same thing as astrology. Thinking if you think you can predict the number go up or down, you can predict people's moods by when they were born 35 years ago. Okay.
I've had one person read my palm, and I immediately dismissed her because she grabbed my palm. She's like, "You need to drink more water." And I'm like, "Doesn't need to drink more water." Like, everyone needs to drink more. I don't know if it's because of, like,
I thought she meant that you had dry skin.
You need to moisturize.
And then I had one friend do tarot on me. I did the same thing. I won't let anyone ever do tarot on me again because it was way too close. Like, the cards that were who I am and who I would be, and I'm like, yeah, no. I want to keep that spell going for the rest of my life. That person was right, and they had some connection, and I don't want to let anyone else do it. So yeah, I think most of them are frauds, but then there's one or two that you meet that you're like, maybe they have some power.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I don't discount anything.
A lot of people feel like that about therapists too, right? Like, they're all frauds except this one that I met.
I like that we're lumping them in with astrologers and tarot readers.
I do not believe in therapists would help me. I think they'll help anyone else in the world. But me, I'm like, yeah, you're not going to help me. I already thought about it. I know what's wrong with me. Unless you're going to make me do the things that would make me a better person, you're not going to help me.
Yeah.
Oh. Do you believe in ghosts? You're in New Orleans. Do you guys believe in ghosts? I will tell you, when I was in New Orleans, I walked around thinking about pirates. And all the pirates that were in New Orleans, and probably died there. I spent a week there at a conference. I loved it. The first night I was on Bourbon Street, and I hated it. I was like, this is horrible. Drunk people, I don't want to be around any of the garbage. I woke up the next morning, and I went walking around the city, and found a bookstore with a cat, and went walking to Jackson Square, and there was a great jazz band playing, and grabbed me a baguette and a coffee, and ended up having just a wonderful time walking around by myself when it wasn't all about drinking and getting beads and all that garbage. I actually fell in love with New Orleans.
Yeah.
I want to go back.
Yeah, we don't really get into the party scene either. We're pretty boring. We don't, yeah.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
it was kind of like, I walked to the Mississippi because I wanted to see the Mississippi. It was the furthest I've been. I live in California. And so I walked up to the Mississippi there, and I'm like, oh, there's the Mississippi. I turned around and went walking. It was weird. It was totally anticlimactic. You know, I've read a lot of Mark Twain, and I don't know what I was expecting. It was like, oh, hey, there's water and a boat. I turned around and
okay.
I did find it. I love New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, and I love New Orleans. Almost everywhere else I've been, I've hated. I don't like Oklahoma. I don't like Texas. I don't really care for Arizona, but I love New Mexico, and New Orleans was cool.
I say that too. I always tell them, I'm like, I love New Mexico too, because like there's no part of New Mexico that I've been to that I didn't like. It's all just so equally interesting. And
the people, the Navajo people, it's really weird in New Mexico because it's not progressive, which from California, I don't know if you guys are, is New Orleans progressive? In California, when we don't like something, much like what's going on now where they're recalling the governor here, if we don't like something or we want a law, you can get 200,000 people to sign it and it goes on the ballot. So we can get rid of elected officials if we don't like you, and it doesn't matter who you are. When I was in New Mexico, the governor, Richardson, got caught giving all these road construction contracts to like his brother. And I'm like, holy crud, you guys. Like, New Mexico is one of the worst poverty states in the nation. He should be kicked out of office, right? And they're like, well, we'll vote him out. And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we have no concept of...
We'll get him next time.
The governor who is. And I think it comes from the fact that the Navajos that lived there got taken over by the Spaniards, and then the Spaniards left, and they became the New Mexicans, and then the federal government moved in, and the whole time the New Mexican people are like, yeah, they'll be here and then they'll be gone, and so they don't really care about government. It's so weird. But it's just, coming from California, it just throws me. And then a lot of people there are born outside Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and so they're from small towns. So everything feels like a small town. And you know people, and people know other people, and it just, in a weird way, New Mexico is a big community that kind of all knows each other, and there's a lot of mutual respect. There's not a lot of people getting on other people, not a lot of, I mean, there's crime and drugs and all that, but it's just an accepting place, which is, you can go there and people will say hi to you. But I'm from California. If someone says hi to me at the gas station, I'm like, what do you want? I don't have money. Leave me alone.
That's
in
how...
New Mexico, you walk by someone, and they're like, hey, how you doing? How's your day? Are you doing okay? And they just want to know who you are and say hi and tell you good morning. It's just weird. It's a weird, weird state.
Well, that's
From
how it is
California,
here, too.
Yeah.
People here are really friendly. And when I first came here, I was living in New York the first time I came here, and people were saying hi to me, and I was shook. Like, I was, like, upset almost that someone was talking to me. And I had my German Shepherd, and I would let her just, like, attack, like, bark at them. And I'd be like, oh, no, I can't talk. She's angry, you know, like. And now I've just kind of leaned into it, and it's fine. And I kind of like it. It's grown on me, I guess.
Weird. It happened to me, and I don't know if this happens to you. In Mexico, maybe because I was a tourist and I read this wrong, but a couple times we went into small little restaurants, hole-in-the-wall places, and it would be a lot of African Americans. I would be the only white guy walking into the place, and everyone would be quiet. And everyone would be really deferential, and it was like, I don't know if that's still like the South thing, where that whole thing is still kind of there in New Orleans. It was weird. It threw me a little bit. It was probably more of a tourist thing, but it definitely seemed like,
yeah, you
like
might
everyone
have.
being on their tiptoes around me, like making sure that they weren't doing anything wrong when I was around. And it's like, I don't even live here. Like, do your life. Like, whatever you guys do your thing. It's just weird. Yeah. It definitely felt a little bit of an alien among them, you know.
Yeah.
In a place that, which is weird. But that might be the tourist thing too.
Yeah, you might have just walked into a place where it was like, what the hell are you doing here? Like, you might have just walked into yeah.
There are places like that. My buddy Zach went on tour, and they did some shows down in like El Paso, where he was the only white guy. The rest of the band members were Mexican, and the whole crowd was Mexican, and they were cheering and cheering at him for being a white guy, yelling stuff at him for being a white guy. And it's like, he was like, man, he did the same thing happened in Chicago. They went to some underground bar that was a bunch of old jazz musicians, and they were getting a lot of crap from the locals, like, you guys don't belong here, you need to go. The people they were with knew some of the old jazz guys that would drink at this underground bar in Chicago, and they were like, nah, they're cool, let them go through. And it's like, so there's definitely places where you don't go if you're not part of their scene, part of their family. But yeah, when you walk into a room and everyone suddenly goes quiet, like everyone stops, like in the Old West, when the guy walks into the saloon and the piano player, it's like, maybe I shouldn't be in here. I'll go eat lunch somewhere else. I just wanted a po' boy. I'll take my food. Yeah, there were a few of those places, but what are you gonna do? You know, I understand it. It's we're not very far removed from white-only bathrooms and white-only drinking fountains, really. My dad and mom were, 15 when they still had, white-only sections on the bus and stuff, so, yeah. I don't know. I hadn't been to the South. I've never been to Virginia or South Carolina or North Carolina. So I don't know what it's like, but I hear it's still a little bit of that. Were you from New York, did you say?
I went to school in New York, so I lived there for a while.
Where is that?
Oh, what's that?
What part of New York is that?
Oh, just New York City. I just lived in the city, East Village.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wally lives in New York too.
I don't really like cities. I found out, like, I lived in Sacramento, and I don't know if it's because I grew up in LA, adjacent to LA, but cities bother me. Like, I think I would be, literally die in New York. Like, I couldn't handle, there would just be too many people. You know what I mean? I don't feel comfortable around a lot of people, and I don't know if New York would really get me. I hear, I see the pictures of Times Square on, New Year's Eve, and I'm like, I cannot imagine. I wouldn't last 5 minutes. I'd be, turning the other way and trying to find somewhere quiet. There's just too many people.
I feel like a lot of people who live in New York would avoid Times Square.
Yeah.
Wait.
So-
Yeah, I want to like West New York State. So like on the border of Canada, like
Sorry,
Buffalo.
Wally. I turned you down a little bit. I'll turn you back up, Wally.
I don't know. I also want to move to Wales though.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I've been trying to figure out like how to get a visa because I teach physics in college here, and they always need physics teachers. If I can get some kind of visa to go there and work as a physics teacher in Wales and go live in Wales, but I don't think I would ever come back. kind of over the U.S. You know.
I mean, I get you. I'm
we haven't
Canadian,
looked
so.
What's that?
I said, I get you. I'm Canadian, and I'm like frequently like, maybe Canada is better than this place. But, you know, here I am.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I find myself a lot of times just astounded at social media, whatever social media is, you know, and the amount of politics that's ignorant politics that's not focused on saving people. You know, you can go to Twitter and everything is on one side or the other. And I would like to go live somewhere where things are a little bit more simplified. I don't know if Wales is more simplified than here, but at least not feeling so overwhelmed with both sides of it being just utter jackasses on both sides. And I don't like Trump at all. I'm not a Republican, but I see American politics as a game of us and them, and it absolutely makes me lose my faith in democracy because I'm just like, why do I want to vote for either one of you guys? You know?
Yeah,
if I don't,
the two-party system is definitely killing us. We need a bigger system.
Well, it kind of comes down to like the people that say you got to get out and vote. You got to get out and vote. And I'm like, yeah, but you're saying that because you think I'm voting for your guy. But what if I went and voted for the other guy? You wouldn't want me to go vote. You just want me to vote. People are crazy. I don't vote. I absolutely don't vote. I refuse to vote because I've never really liked politicians, which is, I don't know, I guess that makes me bad and I shouldn't say anything about politics, but the people that tell me, like, you gotta vote, my friends are like, you didn't vote? And I'm like, no, I didn't vote. I don't care. Let the whole country burn. We can all be fascists. I don't care. Because I don't think my vote changes anything from California. And that's a really bad way to look at it. I encourage everyone to vote. Go vote your conscience, do your thing. But yeah, I want to move to Wales. I think because I'm Scottish somewhere back in my line, and Wales just seems like a good place to go. And I bet if I went there, it would be horrible. I would absolutely hate it.
At least you know that. I feel like.
Well, I think. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I feel like a lot of people think that they could move somewhere and things are gonna just magically get better and they're gonna be different and everything will be different. But to have the self-awareness to know that wherever you go, you take yourself with you and all your issues, and it's probably gonna be the same. So that's good that you can identify that.
But the difference is, if I don't know, then I kind of have the built-in excuse that I don't have to be involved in politics because I'm not actually from it. I could be like, oh, you know, I don't know. I think I want to just live somewhere gloomy, you know, somewhere that rains all the time and it's gloomy. And I think Wales looks like a cool place. No, Seattle's got that city thing going.
Yeah.
Seattle's a city. I have friends that are up in Seattle, and yeah, I don't know. So where would you live if you could? Where would you run off to get off Lisbon?
You know, the funny thing is when we finished Rosie and Joe, our animated series, and at that point I had been like animating for probably 10 hours a day for months at that point. And I don't know why, but I started looking for land in Alaska, like really remote parts of Alaska that it's not even a logical place to live because you need a bush plane to get there and there's no electricity. And I seriously was like, oh my God, we could buy land for $10,000 in Alaska. And I really got into looking at properties. And so it's not that I would want to do it. Or Montana. I've told you. I've told him. I'm like, let's move to Montana, like rural Montana. But then I think about it and I think, would I really want to like survive winter? Because that's one of the things I like about living in the South is we don't really have terrible winters. We have hurricanes, I guess. That sucks. But I really hate it. I'm Canadian.
Everything's fine.
I'm Canadian, so I grew up with really cold winters, and it really traumatized me. Having to like wait for the school bus in my snow boots and shoes and hat, and I hated it. I always hated it. So it's weird that I'm saying.
Have you guys ever been to the Grand Canyon?
Yeah.
I haven't.
So you drive through the old Grand Canyon Railroad part as you're driving on 40. I want to live there. It's like there's a couple houses, and I think about that all the time. And then I think, man, I couldn't handle natural gas. I couldn't handle a septic tank. I couldn't handle a generator. Like I have to be like I turn a switch and stuff. I flush the toilet and I don't worry. I would be dead. In Montana. In the middle of nowhere, Montana, I would be dead within 2 weeks.
Oh yeah, me too. Like me too. I have no wilderness skills, but what is he doing?
When I lived in Albuquerque, it would snow a couple days a year, like 5 days a year, like real snow. And I would take like a little salt box and throw it on the driveway. And I figured out like shoveling snow sucks. It's back-breaking, horrible labor. And you got to get your driveway clear. So I'd throw salt out there, and I would just look at it sadly and hope that it would do it. It didn't do anything. It might have done something once, but it was like, yeah, I'm not going anywhere for 2 or 3 days until my car can make it past the snow on my driveway. It was sad. And yeah, I don't know if I could do that. Montana is beautiful, but I don't think I would survive. Maybe there's some.
I mean, New Mexico is pretty. New Mexico is really pretty, and the weather's decent too. So I don't know. New Mexico's nice.
Yeah, it's actually probably the nicest weather I've ever. Yeah. Because you get about 7 or 8 days of and you get like 5 or 6 days of summer, and you get all stuff comes in and the stuff that comes down from Colorado.
Yeah.
So the weather just constantly changes from cold to hot, but it never gets horrible. It's just what it is.
Yeah.
And you don't get bad hurricanes like you guys get. Yeah, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
It happens. We did get hail. We got hail so big that it blew out the rain gutters around our house and dented everyone's cars one year. But yeah. So what's your next animation project that you guys are doing? You said you were working on one for 10-hour days.
Oh, that was for Rosie and Joe. Like when we submitted the final episodes to the network, that's when I kind of had a little bit of a crisis and started looking for land in Alaska. Right now, we're working on another animated series. Like I'm kind of in pre-production for it. I'm developing it, and I also just thought of this idea for a short film based on actual events. My parrot, I have a parrot that lives with my parents, and it had like some kind of weird growth or something. And it had like a cancerous tumor or something under its wing, and we thought it was going to die, and it got so heavy that it couldn't fly or walk anymore, but then one day it just like fell off, and it was really gross. And so I kind of thought of a film based off of this premise of like a twin or something, like growing on your body and then just becoming its own entity. So that's kind of like an idea that I have that I would want to work on.
You know what the growths were? I had a pit bull that had a bunch of bumps that I thought were cancer, and they said they were skin, like hair and skin that grows inside, like a hairball inside their skin. And I was like, that is the most disgusting thing I've ever heard. And she would get lumps everywhere. She was 17 years old. But yeah, it's hair, like an ingrown hair that just, that's disgusting.
Yeah, it's really gross. And
what was on the bird?
I don't know. Like, I told my mother to, like, autopsy it. Like, she was so disgusted by the thing that fell off that she just threw it in the garbage. And then I made her get it out of the garbage and take a photo and send it to me because I really wanted to see it. And then I was like, did you autopsy it? And she's like, that's disgusting. Like, you're disgusting. And so we'll never know, but
We'll never know.
Well, it looked like a little baby bird was growing under her armpit because it had like a beak and an eye socket, and
So it's gonna be basket case 3 with a bird.
I don't know what that is.
Don't worry about it.
They had a bird in one, didn't they? I'm thinking Moon Man.
I laugh because nothing dies at my house. I thought my son 7 years ago got goldfish at a dump carnival for little kids, you know, where they went. Those goldfish have been alive for 7 years. I looked it up on Wikipedia and it said it can live to be 30. I'm like, really? Oh. And I feed them. My son and my wife lived in a different place, and so when they left, he left his fish with me. And so I feed these fish every day, and I change their water. But they're going to be with me forever. They're going to be with me for 23 more years. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, my pit bull that lived to be 15, she was on her last legs for like 4 years. And she was still, for whatever reason, she just kept trucking. And every time I took her to the vet one time, because I was like, she's done. We got to take her, get a quality of life check. She barely gets up. You know, she gets up, she eats, but she's probably in pain. We take her to the vet, and she's the happiest puppy dog you've ever seen in your life. I'm like, really? Because the vet's here, you're acting like everything's cool, and you're not an old lady. Everything's like, you know. So yeah, I'm going to do a short film about the house where nothing ever dies. Everything just lives forever. Except they all get old and have old problems. So all the fish have like scales. All the dogs have lumps. A house where nothing dies. It's horrible. All fish live for 30 years if you take care of them right.
Are they growing?
So,
they're like getting bigger and stuff, or are they just staying the same small?
hopefully they grow to the size of the tank, but they're in like a, I don't know, like a 4-gallon tank. So they're about 5-6 inches. They're big, but they're big. And yeah, I don't know when they'll ever die. So every day I walk by and they run out, they swim over to the side of the tank, and I'm like, oh yeah, I gotta feed you. And I feed them. And I change their water after the water's been in there for a month or whatever. I'll change their water out for them, and I'm like, I don't even like fish. Like, fish don't do anything.
I mean, imagine being a fish for 20, 30 yees. Like, imagine the existence of a fish for 30 years. Like,
From what I understand, they don't remember it.
That's awful. That just sounds like...
At this point,
it's like the
I'm
movie
waiting for my
Memento,
son to
forever for a fish.
I'm waiting for my son to take them. So, like, when he gets his own place, I'm going to be like, here's your fish that I watched for the last 10 years. Or you take them and they're yours now.
That's so sad. They're going to die.
Yeah, and it's just weird. I never would have thought a fish that you got in a plastic bag at a carnival would live forever. Every other one died within a day or two, you know. We'd have the sad, like, he would put it in his fish bowl, and then 2 days later, it's like, go in there and it's floating. Then he'd get upset, and it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, your fish died. Maybe we can go get another one. and you're like, we're not getting enough.
I was one of those kids where we always kept getting goldfish and guppies because like I couldn't keep them alive. I don't know what I was doing wrong, but and I was sad. Like I tried to keep them alive. It wasn't that like I neglected them. I really tried, and I just couldn't.
I don't neglect them, but I don't like try. I'm not like trying to take care of these fish. I just give them food every day and I change their water. And they're going to live forever. And if I tried, if I went to the pet store and got like a nice filter and a pH, all that stuff, I bet they would die in a week. If I took too much. You ever watch Married with Children?
Yeah.
You know, you heard there's an episode Peggy wins a weekend with the healthiest man in Chicago, and he gets him addicted to bonbons and watching soap operas, and he dies. And how girls are like, it's your life is you're gonna live forever, but your life is so unhealthy to anyone else that it kills them. I kind of feel like that. Like my mediocre care of these fish is keeping them alive forever, and if I try, they'll die.
Yeah, that's probably true. I mean.
Oh man.
Yeah, that's pretty much my life. I teach online and I take care of my pets and I occasionally draw my comics and read some books and take care of my son for a couple hours a day when he's here and then that's about it. That's all I do. I've been off my comics for a while. I do my comics, I think I've done 4 or 5 of them since June, because I don't know about you guys. I have that thing where, like, the world depresses me, and I find it hard to be funny. Like, hard to write a funny joke. When I sit down to write jokes, I want to talk about politics, or I want to talk about this thing or that thing, and I realize it's not funny. It's not funny to anyone else. It's therapy. It's not, like, I'm not writing something that I think will make you laugh. I'm trying to get something out. And I just don't do that. I refuse to do that. I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I get periods where I get like writer's block for a month or two, where I just don't want to be creative because the world just kind of depresses me. I don't know if other people are that way. I've heard creative people. I'm sure you guys are.
Oh yeah, it happens.
How do you guys deal with
usually, I mean, I have so many different things going on that if I get stuck on one thing, I'll move to something else and try to get unstuck some kind of way. I don't know. I've actually been kind of stuck on the latest episode of Piero because, I don't know, like, since the first half of the episode, it's a really long episode, it's like 15 minutes, and on the first half of the episode, I really had a lot of ideas and things were going, and the second half is very quiet, and I'm not exactly sure where I'm going with it, and then I've been, trying to do the theremin stuff for Fat Fleshy Fingers, so I've been kind of like, I've been distracted, I guess, also with a lot of doing the crypto stuff and doing a lot of other stuff. So I've been really distracted. So I do need to get back on some music. I need to.
I think once you start doing it, you'll not be stuck anymore.
Yeah, that's true.
Like for me, it's just a lot of the time. Like once you start doing it, you're not as stuck. I guess writing is harder. I'm definitely don't have creative block because there's always some kind of creative ideas swimming around in my head. For writing, I definitely get a block occasionally. And I guess it's just like I try to change. I try to be creative in another area altogether.
That's what I was kind of
like,
saying.
Lately it's been, I started out as a fashion designer. I went to school for fashion design. And so lately I've been like, well, I'm going to start designing things again. And hopefully that will inspire the animation. And it's kind of been working. And then lately I've been doing like one nonsensical drawing every day. So I just do whatever I want. And it can't be for a project I'm working on. It has to just be like put a pencil to paper and whatever comes out is what it is. And that's been a lot of fun. So I think just that exercise has been helping me be more creative in everything that I've been doing. So.
Yeah, I get that. I do that too. I mean, obviously there's amps behind me. If I need to be creative, I go and I play music. But there's just times where, I don't know, it's really weird the way comics work. Well, web comics work, because you're throwing them out there and you're letting them be out there. And they go wherever they go. And I never know where they go. And I never know who sees them. And there's not a lot of feedback ever. And the feedback you get is just whatever it is. But it's just like, okay, it's like shouting into the void sometimes. And so you're just like, do I really want to say this, or do I really want to say that? Making false, paths that you realize, I'm going to abandon that. That's not the direction I want to take. I don't know. I find it really easy to get too autobiographical or let your own life start running in the characters, and I never wanted that. I kind of subscribe to the theory of you make some good characters, put them in a situation and see what happens. Maybe not even plan it, just see what happens. Put these 5 characters in this room and see where it goes. And if it goes somewhere good, great. If it doesn't, then move on. So I find that lately, I don't know if it's the pandemic ever, but it's been hard to be funny. It's been hard to find jokes that I think would make someone laugh and that I believe in. Like, there's days where I draw something and I laugh. I'm like, yeah, that's hilarious. I chuckle to myself. That hasn't happened in a few months. So I kind of have been like, I'm done for a while.
Well, yeah, I mean, comedy's hard, that's, yeah. I mean, that's really it. Comedy's just hard. Like, a lot of Gerline's work is just surreal, and I think the comedy comes out unintentionally. Yeah. A lot of the time the comedy just comes out in like happenstance between what she did visually and what I do with sound, and like something just comes out,
And it's not even like universally funny, because it's like some people might find it funny, but a lot of people won't find it funny. And
yeah,
it's especially fun when you screen at a festival, seeing like the people who thought it was funny, and then most of the audience is just like, this is just weird stuff.
Yeah.
So it doesn't make sense.
Do this. So I will tell you this. My friends who know me, like if I watch a film or I watch a band or a show, if I hate the band, if I think the band sucks, I'll be laughing and joking and talking with my friends. If I like a band or I like a movie, I look pissed off. I look like I'm just intently mad. And because I'm trying to understand the implications of it, and I'm trying to catch the messages, and I'm usually chasing a thread through my head of what I'm seeing on the screen and where it's taking me. So I look mad, and I think it's probably not good, so I try not to stand too close to the stage where the musicians can see me and think that I'm frowning. But if I really like something, I tend to kind of zone into it. And so some of those people might have been doing the same thing, that they were processing it. And some people just hate things. Some people are grouches and whatever.
I mean, they're definitely processing it. I don't know if they're liking what they're processing, but I guess it's kind of similar to like when they say you like, when food is really good when no one's talking, like you're at like a dinner with your family, or like, in a restaurant and the food is really, really good, there's less talking because people are just absorbing what they're eating. So maybe that.
There's definitely a difference between people being silent because they're not engaged and people being silent because they've been emotionally invested in something.
Oh.
And not where to go. So.
All right, Wally's going to head out. Yep. See you later, Wally.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go pretty soon too.
It was,
Yeah, it's been a great conversation. You should drop some links in this you see in the chats on the side little things there. Drop your music and some comics and stuff so everybody can catch up.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, I got all these channels on the side.
So yeah, but yeah, if you guys want, I don't know how Discord works. So this is the first time I've ever used it. I downloaded it an hour before the meeting.
Awesome.
My students use it, but I let them have it as a clubhouse where they can talk about me without me knowing about it. They're always like, "Can we have a Discord?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We'll give you the link." And I'm like, "I don't want the link. You guys can talk bad about me all you want and vent or whatever." So I don't know how this works to add people, but I'll try and figure it out. And maybe, hopefully, I'll be able to join you guys again.
Well,
Thank
if
so
you
much.
followed the link, you're definitely part of the group now, I believe. So you should get, yeah, like you should already be part of the group, I guess.
So I wondered that will so I don't know how it works. Sorry. Shoot.
All those little things on the side are just different channels. So if you want to drop like your Bandcamp, and then like I just got one called Social Media Drop where you can drop whatever you want. It's basically like AOL chat rooms. Just think about it like that, and then.
I'm lost. I think I totally lost you guys. I will figure it out. So yeah. Oh, all right. So if you just look up James Robert Boyd at Bandcamp, but just throw this in there for now for people.
Cool.
So a little bit about it. Copy.
Oh, we just lost it. All right, well, if anybody wants to claim their oh, he just went to a different room. James, you're in the wrong room. Yeah, to claim the Pope for tonight, just message the Pope bot Spaghetti, and you can claim the Pope tonight, and we will be back next week. Oh, look, James is back. You're back.
Cuddle Club video, and it took me to a different thing now. I'm sorry, you guys. I'm the worst.
It's all right. We've got time. You can get acquainted for next week. But yeah, look, I was just telling everybody, message the Pope bot Spaghetti, and you'll get.
So what? So I don't understand what that is.
It's a proof of attendance protocol badge. So it basically is like your ticket stub for tonight to say, hey, you made it out tonight to Midnight Cuddle Club number 2.
Can you just DM them?
Yeah, you DM the Pope bot. Yeah, it'll send you a link, and then that link will allow you to download the Pope. And the Pope is basically like it's an NFT, but it's not actually on Ethereum. You'd have to mint it to Ethereum. But yeah, it's pretty simple. If you just message the Pope bot Spaghetti, you'll get a link, and then give it your email address, and you'll have a profile essentially with your popes on it that you collect every week from here and perhaps other events you go to. It's kind of like a simple NFT. So, but yeah, you should join us again sometime. It was great catching up.
Yeah, it's nice. I don't know that me and you have ever actually talked. We've known each other through Instagram and Facebook for 3 or 4 years now.
Yeah. No, just a few comments here and there.
Yeah, well, I think I caught some of your videos and just fell in love with them. Just some of the stuff really, really nice. So, yeah, keep it up, you guys.
Well, thank you.
Obviously, you don't need to help, but they're great. But you, yeah, let me know, or I'm in the friend thing, so I'll figure this all out, and I'll see you guys next time, hopefully.
Yeah, it was good. It was nice meeting you.
Yeah, it was great catching up. I'm gonna check out some of your music too. So yeah, we'll chat again soon.
That stuff is, some of it's just guitars and bass and drums, or guitars and drums. It's bits and pieces of things I'm working on that are on there. I'm trying to write an album by the end of the year, so
Nice,
yeah, I'll let you guys know how that turns out.
Yeah.
awesome.
I'll see you.
All right.
Be
All
safe.
right.
Be safe with the hurricane.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.